Are you so excited for the garden in 2025? Yeah? Let's share what seeds we got today. Yeah, okay, so you want to go with this one or this one first? Which one should we open first? Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are doing a nice little 2025 seed haul. I'm so excited about this. Last year I gave myself the goal to really work through my seed stash, so I feel like I'm running quite low on seeds. This is a mixture of varieties I have grown in years past and also some new ones I'm really excited about. The flower varieties I got this year. I really like to play around with flowers to really change up the garden. So this year I'm really changing up my color wave of flowers and I'm so excited about the varieties I chose and I can't wait to share those with you guys today. But I've just been taking the last few weeks a little bit quieter. Mid-December for me is probably the quietest time of the year for me busy wise. So I really just try to embrace that a little bit. I've been doing a lot of crochet. I've been crocheting stockings for the house. I have about 2 done out of the 4 and I'm trying to get this done before Christmas. So the next week I'm going to be doing a lot of crochet. But anyway, we start seeds next week, which honestly is so crazy. We will start onions just right after Christmas. So this is really the last week I won't be doing anything for the 2025 garden, which is honestly just crazy. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this haul. I actually ordered from 4 different places. So I have a handful of places I really like to order, and honestly some of these companies sell similar things to where if I need to get to a certain free shipping, like money wise, I will try to like haul from a few different ones. And today I have a few from Rene's garden. I only got a few from Johnny's this year, mostly because I ordered a lot from Mowing Organics, which they and Johnny's have a lot of really similar hybrids. And then I also actually ordered a decent amount this year from Botanical Interests, which in the last few years I really haven't, but there was a few varieties that they had organic or slightly different from things in the past that I was actually really interested in growing. So I am really excited about this haul. Let's see, right on the top here, we have Johnny's. So Johnny's, I think I only ordered like a few seed packets from. I don't have much, but there was a new variety I was so excited about, which is this one on the top here. So I ordered a variety called Ballerina. It's a zinnia variety, and I love the pastel color wave. I believe this is a new one for them for 2025. And I just knew I had to have it. I only ordered the Ballerina zinnia, which I think is so pretty. I will cluster all the flowers. Once we go through all this, I want to show you guys all the flowers side by side because I was going back and forth with all different seed companies, like looking at their pictures so I could see that they would like really be cohesive. So really excited about this Ballerina. And then another one in the flower varieties is a hybrid snapdragon. This is the Cane's Orange 23F1. I don't know. That's a very interesting name. And I really didn't realize it, but I really liked this variety because with some of the other flowers I got, I felt like it was a little bit more depth because I'm going to do a lot of pastel-y colors this year, and I really wanted to have something that had very similar tones but a little bit more depth just when I go to make bouquets and things like that. I have a very like mixture of colors. Snapdragons easily became one of my favorite things to grow in 2024. I actually never grew any type of snapdragon until last year, and I loved them so much. They gave me such beautiful flowers. I want to say from May all the way through October. Did they look as pretty in October? No, but they were still one of the things still blooming in my garden, and I really enjoyed snapdragons. So I'm really excited to introduce those both to the garden. So next up, let's do Mowing Organics because we have a good amount with them. I ended up just finding so many different things I really wanted from them. All right, so let's see here. In my last video, I did mention this variety. This is a favorite, a new favorite of mine. It's the Naval pelleted carrot. So I have really enjoyed this carrot a lot. It has produced really well in my garden for me, just very beautiful, very flavorful carrots. And I really like a pelleted carrot seed, mostly because for me in the past, anytime I've not had a pelleted carrot seed, I would still do my best on trying to space them out really well. But I would still get just a little bit closer than I would have liked. And then I was still doing a lot of root disturbance with having to pull or cut carrots, and it was just a lot more maintenance than just buying a pelleted seed. So a pelleted seed is simply a clay coating over the seed, and it just makes it to where it's a lot easier to pick up a seed and space the seed. And I have found with carrots, it's honestly just kind of game changer. I've really enjoyed a pelleted carrot, and ever since I started growing pelleted carrots, no matter what the variety, actually, I just really like this Naval. They've just performed amazing for me. So love this carrot so much. I had to order that one again. And then I actually got something new that was pelleted this year. So this is a pelleted celery. This is a variety called the Tango. And I believe, I'm gonna probably butcher some of this, but in the description, I believe this one was supposed to be a little bit more heat tolerant. I have grown celery in the past. I've grown pink celery, which I think is so fun. I've actually thought about still ordering pink celery. This probably won't be everything I end up ordering for 2025, but it is going to be a good chunk of it. But the pink celery in the past I've gotten from Baker Creek, which I don't have in this little haul today. I've been kind of debating if there's a few different beans I want to order from Baker Creek. But anyway, the pink celery actually has done really, really well for me in the past. And I've never tried to grow a traditional green celery that you buy from the grocery store, but I use a decent amount of celery, so I actually really want to give this a try. Next up, we have the California Wonder Sweet Pepper, which is just a red pepper, bell pepper. This year, I really wanted to have a variety in my bell peppers. So not only do I have a red pepper this year, I have this Elsa Sweet Pepper F1, which this is a yellow bell pepper. And then I thought I also have an orange one somewhere. But next up, we have the Red Ember Cayenne Pepper. So this one also easily became a favorite of mine in 2024. This Red Ember Cayenne I loved so much because in the past, cayennes have just been a little bit harder to work. They tend to have a really thin skin. So if you're trying to de-seed them to use in a salsa or make into a powder or even a hot sauce, they're just really hard to work with. This Red Ember variety I have found to be thicker walled and very easy to work with. They're also a lot bigger than your traditional cayenne, at least in my 1 year of growing them experience. And I just really enjoyed this. So this is the cayenne variety I got. And then I bought the same corn variety that I grew last year. So in 2024, I also had the goal to try to grow corn again. I've had terrible luck with corn in the past, but I was determined. I really wanted to try to grow a sweet corn, and I had some amazing sweet corn. Oh my gosh, so tender. So I've never had corn that tender in my life. So amazing. So I ordered the same variety. I grew this last year, which is the Natural Sweet XR F1 Sweet Corn. This is also a hybrid variety. It did really well for me and I really, really enjoyed it. So I am just excited to grow that again next year. All right, we have a few more from them. This next one is a variety of lettuce I have grown every single year. So this is my 8th year gardening, going into my 8th year gardening, and I just really like this variety. I love a classic romaine lettuce, and this Paris Island does not disappoint. I do have a few issues with it bolting once we get into June, but that's pretty common with lettuce. I have never not had a lettuce bolt on me, and I believe this Paris Island is supposed to be a little bit more heat tolerant than some others, but I have really enjoyed it. It grows really, really well for me, and people tend to ask me what it is because they produce some beautiful romaine heads. So I got a bunch of those seeds. I also got the Calabra onion, which is what I really had to get ordered, and that's one reason why I went ahead and ordered so many seeds. I was like, let's go ahead and start planting this garden a little bit more. So the Calabra onion for me has done very, very well. I will say, if you've watched any of my videos over the last year, you will know my onion harvest this year was beautiful, but I had a lot of issues with the curing process and actually lost my entire crop. I was really hesitant on really wanting to grow onions again, to be completely honest. I'm still unsure of how many seeds I'm going to start next week. That's one decision I really need to make this week because of just how much loss I really did experience. But I'm not giving up hope because this variety grew so well for me in 2023 and it stored beautifully. I was having onions, I want to say, until end of January, beginning of February. So one reason why I like the Calabra onion is because I'm in an intermediate day zone. So if you don't know, with growing onions, it's really important to look at the day length calendar when choosing a variety. And there's short day, long day, and intermediate day onions. And I'm just in that intermediate day window. And one thing I found really hard to find in the intermediate day varieties is storage quality. A lot of the onions that do well in this area tend to be sweeter onions with lesser storage. This Calabra is like a traditional yellow Spanish onion, and it's done really well for me. I got some beautiful large onions this year, and I do have an idea on how I'm going to block wind this year, and I think that was the one reason that caused me some issues with the curing process. So I'm not going to give up, but to say I have a little bit anxiety with the onions going into 2025 is an understatement. I also just stocked up on some traditional Clemson spineless okra. This is typically the okra variety I believe it's the only okra variety I have ever grown. And then I also got, here it is, the Cubo orange sweet pepper. So I'm really excited to have different colors of sweet peppers this year. That was one thing I really thought would just add a little bit more variety coming out of the garden. So very excited about all of those. And then let's see here. Let's jump to Rene's garden. I did not order a lot from Rene's garden. I ordered a few of my favorites from them this year. All right, so these are just 3 I really like to grow. I have some classic jalapenos, and we all know this is one of my favorite peppers. This Hungarian Magyar is a paprika pepper variety that I have just loved. So paprika powder is just bell pepper, red pepper, crushed and powdered. But I love this Hungarian Magyar because it actually dries beautifully to where if you just have a dehydrator, it's going to dry really well into a powder, no problem, and it's not going to take forever. I typically freeze dry it nowadays, but it dries so beautifully. I've had issues in the past trying to dry just a regular bell pepper because they tend to be so thick and juicy and watery, and this one tends to be a little bit drier with the same flavor profile. So this is my all-time favorite pepper. I actually have one of my pepper plants from last year in my basement under my grow lights at the moment because I've been overwintering it, and it's starting to flower. I just wanted to see if I could overwinter it. I've never tried before, but I've also just never saved these seeds, mostly because I've never isolated blooms, and that's one thing I want to do a little bit better about this next year, is actually just isolating blooms so that I could get a true seed and not like a hybrid variety. Next up, I have a variety I grew in 2024 that really, really impressed me. So it's coming back for 2025, which is this Inca Jules Roma tomato. This really impressed me. This is a hybrid variety, and I loved it so much. It reminded me so much of the variety Supremo, which is in this box. I will go ahead and tell you, I ordered more Supremo. The thing with the Inca Jules and the Supremo Roma tomatoes is they're a little bit more compact. They really don't continue to branch like your traditional Roma, but they continue to produce throughout the season, and they give such beautiful, uniform, large Roma tomatoes that just have been so good. I was so impressed with this variety, and I decided I really wanted to grow it again. I can also space these just a little bit closer than my traditional Romas. So if I need to like put it in a corner of a garden bed or something like that, it tends to work really, really well for me. So I've really liked that variety. All right, so last up here, we have Botanical Interests. Let's see what we got. Okay, right on top is the one flower I am just hyped about to grow this upcoming year. Okay, so this is the flower I based all of my other flowers off of color-wise because I just knew I had to grow this one. So there's a few different zinnia varieties I have seen, but this one here is a pastel blend variety and they looked gorgeous. So not only do I love the colors, these zinnias, they're fluffy like the Goldie Honey Bear sunflowers that I grow every single year. So I had to order them. I think they are just so fun and so pretty, and honestly, I'm probably the most excited about this flower. But this Cinderella and then the one from Johnny's, the Ballerina, I think they're going to be so, so pretty together. Let me set these aside because I did want to tell you guys all the flower varieties I have going into this next year that are new, that color-wise. I did get some Mongolian giant sunflower seeds because we know I love a giant sunflower. I have yet to grow a sunflower as large as the one, I think it was 2021. It was before we remodeled the entirety of the garden. So it was probably 2021. 2021, I had a sunflower that was definitely 14 feet tall. And my goal is to have another sunflower that tall because it was just mind-blowing how tall this sunflower was. And then once I was able to cut off the sunflower head, it was like this big. It was massive. So I'm really hoping to get a few of those planted in the garden. This is a variety I grew last year, but I grew it from Rene's garden, and Rene's garden has one that's a little bit wider, so the bread seed poppy. So this is a Hungarian blue bread seed poppy, which this feels really weird. It's like a whole book. Weird. Okay, either way, I was excited about this because the Botanical Interest one is organic. The one from Rene's garden isn't, but I typically am not too stickler on just buying organic seeds because I do raise my entire garden organically. But if I can find an organic variety, I tend to look into it. But I am so excited. So I loved growing bread seed poppy so much. It was so fun to have these beautiful blooms in the garden, then allow them to dry out, and then you have a bunch of poppy seeds. And oh my gosh, I went through so much lemon poppy seed bread within like a week and a half. I used up all of my seeds that I grew because it was so fun. I loved this so much. And this is one of those things you can get planted in the garden pretty early. I believe I planted my bread seed poppy last year, the first week of March, when I typically plant my onions, which is crazy to think about. We are really only about like 9 to 10 weeks from planting already. I feel like we're just flying by, but very, very excited about this Hungarian blue poppy. I think it's going to be really pretty, especially just because last year they were all typically white, and I think this will match my color scheme a little bit better with all the other flowers. Okay, so next up is one I have never grown, but I feel like I should grow, and I don't know why I haven't grown. Milkweed. I've never grown milkweed, but this is a perennial. I do want to try to grow it just because it's so fun to find a monarch caterpillar in its chrysalis. And I've actually been able to watch monarch butterflies hatch in the garden, and it's just so beautiful. So I want to really try to bring them into the garden. Typically, I have a ton of swallowtails, and they go after my dill and my parsley. So really excited about some milkweed. Hopefully we get a good amount of monarchs this next year. I really feel like I did not see as many monarchs in the garden this year as I did the previous year. All right, so another flower variety we got to match all of my other ones is this apricota. which what a fun name. I like how it's like a mixture of apricot and like terracotta. These Cosmos. This is a very similar Cosmo to the one I grew last year. Last year I grew the Bright Lights, which is this beautiful, vibrant orange, and I loved them so, so much. So very excited about that. Next up, I got a few packs of the Supremo tomato. The one thing I hate about these is these are more expensive seeds. So for example, a pack of 10 seeds for the Supremo is $5, but then a whole pack of your traditional Roma classic tomatoes, 25 seeds, $2.69. So absolutely crazy. But the Supremo is a hybrid, and this is an heirloom. So if you are unsure of like the terminology between the two, an heirloom is just a tried and true variety. It's going to come back every single year the same if you saved those seeds. A hybrid is a cross between a few varieties, and you might not get the same true, like in this case, tomato the following year if you were to save the seeds. But I have some classic Roma here, and then I also got some more of the Supremo. I grow all paste varieties of tomatoes, and I really just prefer determinate tomatoes. So there's determinate tomatoes and indeterminate tomatoes, and all that simply means is a determinate tomato is going to be a bush tomato, so it's going to grow to about 3 to 4 feet in height roughly, where an indeterminate tomato can just continue to put on height throughout the season and can get 6 foot plus. Okay, one thing that was such a last minute, I don't know, and then I just threw it in my cart and I purchased seeds because sometimes that happens. And I am really, really excited about this. I ordered some tomatillo seeds, which I have never grown before, but at the end of this year, one thing I really did was play around with green tomatoes and try to preserve them in different ways. I made a green tomato pie, which is pretty much identical to an apple pie. It was mind-blowing how similar those were. I really honestly probably would have not known if someone didn't tell me it was green tomatoes. Also, I made some salsa verde with some green tomatoes, and I actually really, really enjoyed that. So I decided, let's try to grow maybe 1 or 2 tomatillo plants in the new year and give them a chance. So if you've grown tomatillos in the past, please give me any tips you have, because this is going to be a fun new one. Then I just ordered some classic serranos. We love serranos here. Oh my gosh. I made a serrano hot sauce sometime in October, I want to say, with a bunch of the serranos for the last harvest. We loved that hot sauce so much that I might grow more serranos this next year. We will see. I've been considering making like larger batches of hot sauce and then also freeze drying it and then just reconstituting it with water to have a little bit more like longevity in the hot sauce. I don't know, really considering that. I got one more new pepper variety for the new year, and it is a habanero, which I've never grown, but I would like to add a little bit more heat to some of my salsas or hot sauces. Not much, like I might throw like a few peppers here and there, so I might only grow 1, maybe 2 of these, but I wanted to give them a go. I was over at a friend's house a few weeks ago, and she actually, the whole reason I ordered both of these, she made a salsa verde with tomatillos and habaneros, and it was so good that I really wanted to try to grow both of those in the garden. And lastly, I just stocked up on some sugar snap peas, nothing too crazy, but that is the seed haul. Let me go back. So some of these, like the milkweed, I'm not going to mention in my flower varieties, but as far as like the cluster of grouping of flowers that I am very hyped about, these 4, I have the Zinderella pastel blend of zinnia. I have the ballerina zinnia from Johnny's. I have the apricota Cosmo, and then I have the Cane's orange snapdragon. All 4 of these I think are going to just be so beautiful in the garden together, and I'm actually just so hyped about this year's colors. I feel like it's going to look a lot different than the previous years, because again, I've grown the Queenie Orange Lime Zinnia for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've been really basing my colors of other flowers around those zinnias, which I might put a few in the garden, but I just really wanted to have a new color wave. And I think that's one thing you can really play around with, especially in a very heavily grown garden that is for food production. I like to have these pockets of colors throughout and different textures and different flowers just to make the space a little bit more inviting. I really like to take my time and really plan out the garden once I get my seeds, because once I get my seeds, I can really visualize where I might place things in the garden. Previous to that, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna plant this here. There are a few things in the garden at this point that I have done very similar every single year, but this year is going to be quite a bit different because I planted all of that garlic in my first few beds right there, and I've had a trellis in that space and really opened. I don't know if I'm gonna like that or not, I don't know, but we are going to be doing a lot of garden planning pretty soon. Like I said, we start the first seeds of 2025 literally in a little over a week, which is just so crazy to me. I'm just really excited about some of the new varieties I got, and there's just a bunch of varieties in this haul too that I've just loved to grow over the years. If you've grown anything I've mentioned, please let me know your thoughts, your opinions, or your tips. I love to see what you guys say in the comments. Like I said, there will probably be a few things I end up ordering. I'm really teetering on what type of potato I want to grow, or if I even want to grow potatoes. I'm still trying to debate if I want to order like a few different beans. I'm trying to find a pole bean variety that can be a dry black bean, which I don't know if that exists, but I'm trying to find one. So if you know one, please let me know, because that's one I really want to figure out. Oh, and one that's not in the haul for today, which I believe won't ship until February, which is fine. I can't plant it out till that first week of May, is the Seychelles green beans. That's the pole bean variety, green bean variety. I grew this last year, and I really liked it. So I'm growing that again, and that was one that was back ordered. So it is one of those things, if you do want to do some seed starting, maybe dabble in some seed shopping, and let me know down below if you've grown any of these, what your experience has been, or what you are excited about to try new in 2025. I would love to know. If there's something that you absolutely love that I should consider growing next year, also please let me know, because I love to know your thoughts on that. But either way, guys, thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you guys all next week for the very first seed starting of 2025. Bye, guys.